Okay, what I wanted to do here is give just a brief sort of mini review of the Hobbyzone Glasair Sportsman, and I'm doing this from the perspective of a beginner, which is what I am, that got this plane to learn on. And this is the only plane I have. I've flown it probably 35-40 times, and I wanted to give a review just from that perspective. I know a lot of reviews on the internet, YouTube, from like hobby stores, stuff like that, so I just wanted to give sort of a regular person's review and talk about the Virtual Instructor a little bit. Anyway, just initial thoughts on this plane. I really like it a lot. It's a great plane to learn on, great trainer. This is the only plane I have, only radio right here. And I've learned how to fly on this plane, and I think that says a lot about the plane itself. I didn't have an instructor or anybody helping me, or I'm not part of a club. And doing all that stuff is great, but I just didn't have that, so I learned just on my own flying this plane. So I think that says a lot about the plane. It flies great, real stable, steady, easy to fly. I think it looks really good. It is a scale model of a real plane, the Glasair Sportsman, and it's pretty big too. The wingspan's about 1,400 millimeters, I think, 56 some odd inches, which is pretty big, but it's easy to transport. I have a two-door hatchback and have no problem at all getting this in and out of my car and transporting it. It's got the Virtual Instructor technology, and you can read a lot about that on the Hobbyzone website, other places, other videos, but I wanted to actually show you how it works on the control surfaces. I've not seen any videos that actually show that, so what I'm going to try to do is put my radio down here and also show you the control surfaces. I don't know if you can see all that, probably not, but anyway, I'm going to go full, I'm going to go full right aileron, and this is with Virtual Instructor on, and just watch the aileron as I go full right. Okay, so I'm still holding full right, but as you can see, the aileron went back to sort of a neutral position. I'll do it again. This is full right the whole time. So it goes for like a second to that position, then it comes back to like a more neutral position. That's to prevent the plane from rolling. And I guess for beginners, if they do that, they may spiral into the ground or something, and this prevents that from happening. So this is, let's see if I can show you this. This is Virtual Instructor on right there, this switch. And I'll just go ahead and turn it off, and let me go full right aileron again, and I'm holding it, and it's just like a normal plane there. Nothing happens. Turn Virtual Instructor back on, flip the switch, full right aileron again, and it does that. Okay, so let's look at the elevator also. It might be a little easier to see here, because it does some things with the elevator and the rudder as well. So I'm going to go full right aileron. This is with Virtual Instructor on, and just watch the elevator when I go full right aileron. Okay, you see the rudder and the elevator moves just a little bit. I'll do it again. Full right aileron, and you see. Let me get closer there just in case. This is all. This is right aileron. There's no rudder input or elevator input I'm putting in. Okay, and you can see the rudder and the elevator move when all I'm doing is going right aileron. And what that does is that helps the plane to turn, makes it a more coordinated turn. And smoother, and the Virtual Instructor does it automatically for you. I'm going to turn it off now and do the same thing, full right aileron, and that time you see nothing happens on the elevator because it's off. It's just a normal plane now. Flick it back on, full right aileron, and you can see a little bit of movement there in the rudder and the elevator. So anyway, that's just how Virtual Instructor works as far as that stuff goes. I hadn't seen any videos that actually showed that. You can see it's real windy today, blowing the plane around. But yeah, that's some of the positives of the plane. Let me give a couple of negatives. One, I do think the plane's kind of expensive. Hobbyzone hobby products I think are in general, but for a beginner plane, I think it's probably worth it because you want your first experience with a plane to be good and not be a real bummer. And so it's probably better to get the best plane possible for your first plane. If it's a really bad experience on your 20th plane, maybe not so big of a deal, but if it's a real bad experience on your very first plane, you might not even continue in the hobby. So I think it's worth it to get a real good plane for your first one, and this has been a very positive experience for me on this plane. But it is a little bit expensive. Another negative would be the wing struts here. I don't know if you can see it, but right down these wing struts, and they connect right here. Sometimes these pop off during flight. What I've done, I've been having a problem on the left one here, and I've just put tape there just to kind of tape it on there, just kind of a stopgap measure until I can figure something else out. Not a big deal, but it does happen. I kind of wish it didn't. Probably the biggest issue would be the nose gear. Let me come around here, and this is the original nose gear that I have on there, and I've taken the pant off. This nose gear has been bent 6-7 times and bent back by me, and it's on its last leg. I have a whole new gear set at home, but this metal is much weaker now than it was originally, just because it's been bent a bunch of times. If this had been a sprung nose gear, shock absorbing, it would have been better. If you actually go on the Hobbyzone.com website, there's a plane on there called a Cessna Corvallis, very similar in size to this plane. This plane's on there too, but if you look at the Cessna Corvallis, it has a beautiful shock absorbing nose gear. So it seems it's kind of in the inventory. I'm not really sure why they didn't put it on this plane. They probably should have, because it's a beginner plane, but anyway, this thing does bend pretty easily. That would be probably the biggest complaint I have about it. It's not a huge big deal, but it is kind of a pain because you have to bend it back and, probably get a new gear set at some point. You can make it a belly lander. I thought about doing that. But anyway, that's a bit of a complaint there. But overall, I would probably give this plane, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it an 8 or a 9. If it had the shock absorbing nose gear, it'd be 10 out of 10 easy. But, say 8.5 as it is. When I bought the gear, though, just another thing I'll comment on, I also bought a extra decal set. I just wanted to talk about some things I did to the plane cosmetically. Well, one, you can see it's painted, wingtips are red, and I saw some other people do that on the forums. I thought it was cool. It helps me to see the plane, and I know which side is right side up. If I see red, I know I'm looking at the top of the plane, so real easy. So I did that. I also taped up the wings and the tail and a little bit of the fuselage. You can't even see it, just real strong clear packing tape. Strengthens up the frame quite a bit. It only just a very slight cost of weight. On the decals, though, just some additional things I did. On the wing here, this was a decal I added, and then the number up on the wing, I did that on the other side too. On the tail, I put this on from the decal set. Looks kind of cool, I think. What I'm really happiest about, though, is on the cowl, on the nose. These decals here, and again, I saw somebody else do this, I'm just kind of copying them, but this decal here actually goes on the main landing gear pant. And but if you look at it, it looks like it was made for the cowl. The length is perfect, and this little curve up here matches perfectly with the curve on the cowl. And then I put Glasair here, which is just this decal, and I just cut it right there. So I got Glasair there, and then Sportsman down there. And I just think it looks great. This comes out of the box as pure white, nothing on there, and I just think it looks a lot better there. So anyway, I just kind of added some color to the plane. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and take it up now. I had planned on doing a shot where I could get it in flight, but I forgot my hat, which is where I attached this little camera that I'm holding. So I'm probably going to put the camera right here, though. I've got some Velcro, so I can just stick the camera right on top. I've also got one of those on the belly, and so I'll get some of the footage, that way. But it's just going to be like, in flight from the top of the wing. But anyway, that is the Glasair Sportsman. It's pretty cool. I really do like it. And I can recommend it as a beginner plane for sure. There's a couple of faults that I mentioned that, I just wanted to be honest about, but for the most part, I think it's a really great plane. I think if you get it, you'd be happy with it, and hopefully this, mini review, or whatever you want to call it, might help a little bit. So anyway, happy flying. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.